Hey folks, the Landstryder here, and welcome back to another episode of Atom Smasher. Again, I am by myself on the server today. What's going on right now is actually Dornell's in the hospital, so do send him some well wishes if you think about it. And we will press on. We need to do a little moving stuff up to the space station and maybe getting some of that set up today. So today I want to finish off building my elevator system up there, and I've been using some random things tools for that, and those are redstone. Let's see if I can find them in here. Advanced redstone? No, there it is. Basic redstone interfaces. And I need a total of 8 of these for each elevator shaft. So I did a bunch of ender pearl farming off camera and a bunch of other just stuff. We've been messing around up in the space station trying to get that all sorted out and ready to go. So there we go. That's 6 total of those, or I mean 8 total of those. I also need a redstone tool, which is right here. This thing, it's really not that hard to build. I think it's just 2 sticks and a piece of redstone will give you the redstone tool. Very important to have if you're going to be working with the random things, redstone interfaces, and redstone stuff. I've used these a little in my Mystic Misadventures series as well, so you might have caught some of that there. And I've also set the land station receiver to be private, so now only I and Dornell are able to actually dial up to the space station, so just make sure that we didn't have any thieves and vandals, up in here. But I have completed, and we're going to change that here in just a second. Right now, this elevator shaft has just got player detectors. You also see that I changed the doors that I originally had been using. I think I had showed the other doors in the video, in a previous video, but I switched those up to look more like actual elevator doors. And when the elevator platform is on a particular level, like if right here the doors are open, and they will not open if we go up to it. Let's see, I can use this elevator shaft right now to actually go up to like one of these, and that's of course one that doesn't have a detector on the inside or out. But if I come out here, this elevator shaft has that player detector on it. This would be what they look like when they're closed. Of course, when the elevator platform is on this level, I want the doors to be open. See, this is a double sliding custom door by Malleus, so I think it looks very much like a regular telescoping elevator door. So we probably focused on this elevator shaft today, and I do apologize for all the noise that it's making. But all right, let's get to all the things that we need to do. I think I have all of the sensors. In fact, I might have left some sensors down in the system, so let's run back down and grab those real quick, because we're going to need those sensors, I do believe, if I don't have them already up there and set up. So if we look in here, sensors, I probably have them in where they need to go. Either that or I've left them in the container up there. So let's dial back up. And I want to make sure that I use the, oops, I dialed the wrong one. I want to make sure that I use the dial once so that it doesn't stay open, so that'll prevent anybody from using it that happens to be wandering into the base. Although I don't think too many people are going to be able to wander into the base right now. So let's use the elevator that's already set up to head up to the lower Taurus. And you can see as soon as I get to the floor, the doors open. And in here I should have, there's the other 4 buttons I'm going to need. And I should have the extra sensors in here somewhere. You can see that I've got the ME stuff, the basics MA stuff, to set that stuff up here as well. So there's the other 3 sensors I'm going to need to set up the elevator on the other side. So let's head back down to the bottom. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Like I said, now right now I've got these player detectors on the outside and inside of this particular shaft, so that I could use it to rapidly use my anti-grav unit to move up and down if I wanted to. But we're going to remove the ones on the outside. I might leave the ones on the inside for purposes, but we're going to put our basic redstone interface right there. Now this one is the one, this is basically the call button. This is the one that's going to call the elevator to this level if it's not currently on this level. So like right now, if we was to, of course I just took the sensor from off of here. Let's put it back for a second. If we was to say come up to the very top here, I should have a player detector here. No, I guess I do not. Okay, we'll just go out this door and then go around. You can see that I've been putting in floors, ceilings. We've been trying to like get it ready for the for moving all the machines and, you know, getting things set up. There's probably going to be some walls go in and a layer of factory blocks, or either factory or laboratory blocks that go in to, you know, to kind of make this area more look more like the interior rather than the exterior of the space station. So if I press this button, that will call the elevator platform to this level. Of course, the door will open, then I go in, and then I can go down to the bottom again. Okay, so to get this call button to work, what we have to do is we have to use the redstone interface to first set the interface block that we want to toggle. Now, I don't want to target the elevator directly. I want to target either a block to the side or above, because it's going to send a redstone signal to that. It doesn't really seem to work if I try to send the redstone signal directly to the elevator control block. Yeah, that block right there. If I send the redstone signal directly to it, it doesn't seem to work. So what is the easiest thing to do is just to send it to the block directly above it or directly below it, or to any of the other sides. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to set up our sensor. In fact, I need to grab from the lower torus. I need to grab a factory or laboratory block or two. Laboratory block. We need this one specifically because we want these sensors to detect the platform. Now, in order to detect that platform, it needs to look for this block. Now, I've already set this one up. It needs to look for that block. It needs to look for 3 blocks in front, because remember, it can't do 1 in front because right there is the wall of the thing. And it is actually detecting in the direction of the little purple notch, and it sends its redstone signal in the direction of the little red notch. So we're going to put another redstone interface right there, and then we're going to bind this one to the block that is directly above the custom door. So bind that there. So there we go. Now we can see that there's a line that when you're holding the redstone tool, you can see the line that goes to the block and the sensor. So it's basically a way of running redstone wirelessly. I'm not sure the maximum distance that these can do, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So now I can remove that sensor from the outside. So now this platform will automatically open the door when it's on this level because of the sensor. So now we need to do that to the next level. So in order to do that, you can see over here where I've done that in this basically maintenance space. This is going to end up being a maintenance space in between here. Not maybe used for some automation or something like that, but we're going to put a door on there, and this is going to be like a maintenance hatchway access area that we can use to access the majority of some stuff. I might even put a small nuclear reactor up here, right in the center here, just to give it a backup power system, because we really want to use the fusion reactor for the primary power up here. But let's duplicate what we did over there. So we're gonna break out these 2 blocks, break those up real quick, break out those 2 blocks. I'm gonna put the redstone sensor there, and now I need a block to actually place this sensor down on. I could break it later, but I need at least to be able to place it like that. And then again, we're going to come in here. It's already set to block. We're going to say area 3 ahead. We're going to tell it that kind of block. And now when I look at it, of course, the platform is not on this level, which is just, you know, so it's obviously not going to detect it until the platform's on this level. But we can come around to here. And this one's a little different. This one has the elevator block is. Oh wait, this is for the door. The door is still the same block. It's that one right there. So there we go. That should do. Now the call button here is a little bit different. So we're gonna break out that block. Yeah. Break out that block. We're gonna put a redstone interface there. Put our button on it, and then we're going to set this one to actually be the block below the elevator, because we don't want this redstone signal to accidentally open that door and let people fall into the shaft. So that should do. So now we should be able to remove this player sensor. So now it won't open from the outside for us, but when we hit the call button, it should bring the platform up to here, and the door opens. Perfect! Alright, now we just need to do that again for the next two levels here. And I do kind of want the player sensors on the inside of the shaft, that way... There we go. That way, if somebody does get into the shaft somehow, they can get out. Probably the person that's going to happen to is myself. More than likely is going to be me. Okay, so this one's actually going to go under this wall right here. So we're going to break those out. We're going to throw that down there so we can put our sensor in like that, and our redstone interface there. And again, we need to set this up to 3 ahead, set that to that block, and then bind this to the block above the redstone door. There we go. Or above the door. I'm going to need to temporarily put that player sensor there, I think, because I didn't bind this interface yet. So we're going to bind that one to over there. And let's make sure that one's good. Alright, let's break that back off, which will close the door. I can fill back in the wall blocks there. And now, if I hit this button, oops, that is one of the downfalls of using this redstone interface directly, you know, on the wall. You can right click it and open it up. I could put it like one block back. I mean, I totally could. It would work on most of the floors, but I think it looks good because, like, hey, it calls your attention to where the call button is, but it does open that interface from time to time when you're doing that. So there we go. Now that one works. We're good to go. All we got to do is come up and do the final one up here. So again, we're going to put a redstone thing there, and we're going to need to put our call button on the corner here. And get our redstone interfaces here. This one's a little tricky because there's no real good place to hide the sensor, so I just put a couple blocks of dirt on top of it. We're going to do the same on this side. Whoa, that's interesting. Ah, that's one mean piece of dirt. Alright, so yeah, that's something you got to be aware of when you're using the atomic disassembler. It does not register as an actual shovel, so when you break dirt with it, there's a chance of making those guys. And I just happened to get a really aggressive one there. Alright, so this is going to be the door sensor, so let's go ahead and put that, set that to the top there. Now, we're actually looking for that block and area 3. There we go. So I should have used that moment there that it was open to go ahead and set the other thing, but I think I can do that from the outside here. Let's go ahead and put our button on it. Because if we come back here and we just set that to that block there, that should do. So if I hit the call button, go. Platform comes up to here. Alright, this elevator is good to go. So back down to the lower torus so we can grab some blocks and get ready to set up our applied energistic system, or at least the beginning of it. I just wanted to go over like building of the elevator there, because it's a really accurate elevator to real life, I think, doing it this way. This is about as close as I can get. So let's put a few blocks away here. I will cover up that stuff up on the surface up there later with dirt. So I wanted to make sure that we had all of the crafting. We're going to end up putting some compact drawers in places, and the other thing we are going to need is the controllers. Now I'm going to end up moving all the applied energistic stuff that we currently have down on the surface up here eventually, but I need to have two working systems in both, or a working system in both places for the time being, until I can until we have like everything moved up here, like all the materials and stuff like that. Now the applied energistic system itself is going to end up going on the upper torus. So let's call our elevator. And up to the upper torus. Okay. Now while we're up here on the upper torus, one of the things I can do, I haven't noticed, like the orientation controller, every time there's nobody up here, these chunks unload. Now that's eventually not going to be an issue, and this will remain stable. But every time I come up here, if I want to get that spinning feel, I have to make sure that I adjust that velocity back up. But once these chunks remain loaded at all times, that's not going to be an issue. Now I did add a little bit of structure to the outside of the station, which is through these high-tech doors, kind of like an airlock type thing, and then we can come on out here, and this is going to be the landing pad for our rocket. So if we need to get up here by a rocket, or we want to take a rocket to land down on another yeah, what am I trying to say? Eventually we're going to want to be landing on other planets. That's what I'm trying to say. Landing on other planets. So we'll need a place to launch our rocket down to the surface and then bring it back up. Now I'm going to put some fueling stations, some other things out here too eventually, but this is like the beginnings of our landing pad. I might end up putting a second one on the other side of the station, basically just duplicate this structure that you see here over to the other side of the station as well. So we have one on each side. We could actually have two rockets, one for me, one for Donnell. Yeah, it would like be right out in the same location. I wanted to offset it a little too, because I like having this window like right in the middle, and I think that ended up being a good place for that door right there. So looks pretty good, I think. You guys can let me know. All right, let's get down to the basics here, or down to business here. Now, we were talking about like making these columns right here, like the primary location, have the primary location for the applied energistic stuff right here in the center. And I kind of like that idea. I do kind of like that idea. Now, of course, the controller, everything, this is the column that we were thinking about where we were going to put like the access terminals and all that stuff, the ME crafting terminal, possibly some other stuff. So let's think, and I can't remember, break that out of here. Yeah, see, that travels all the way up through, which is good. So what I'm thinking is, if let's go ahead and remove that, and actually let's leave the bottom one so we kind of can see where we're going there, because we're going to put a piece of cable right here, just a little piece of cable. But what I want to do is have the ME controller itself like penetrating through the floor there. Now it's going to be 3 tall, so there'll be 1, 2, and then there'll be a third one up there, but that third one is already is part of the system down on the surface right now. So until we're done with the surface system, we're not going to have that third piece of ME controller. Now this is going to give us a lot of channels, and we're going to be using the dense smart cable or dense cable to cable over to like other places and come off of a couple of these surfaces. Now, this column over here, I was thinking would make a perfect spot to put the core of the crafting system. Let's see, make sure we're still in the right place here. The core of the crafting system can go right here. And that is going to consist of these 3 blocks here. Each one of these 3 blocks forms into a multi-block structure that's part of the crafting system. So if we was to do our 16K, our coprocessor, and then the crafting monitor, like right here, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to do our, I think this is the way I want to do it, 16K coprocessor, and then the crafting monitor so that it faces out. Yeah, that should be pretty good. Then we can put, either I can do, let's see, what can I do here? Maybe we'll put something down there to look like, make it look like it's supported. On either side of this, I can do a 3, you know, I can do a molecular deconstructor or molecular constructor, and a bunch of the interfaces and stuff like that. Over here, we want to go with the drive right there, and then the ME crafting terminal right there. That's going to be our primary terminal. I'll probably end up just putting a couple of terminals around, like the crafting interface terminal, the terminal that allows us to access the interfaces from remotely right there. That's going to look pretty good. Now I haven't decided if I want to have, well, I'm probably going to have all 4 crafting things come down here in like a pillar. And I might end up doing just around the bottom, do the molecular processor. You won't be able to see the processing and the actual construction going on, but I don't think that's a big deal because you'll be able to like look at the monitor, go, oh, it's currently crafting this or that or the other. So we're not going to worry too much about actually being able to see some of these processes, but there's always the possibility of putting it over here against the wall too, because we have a ton of space. So it's going to be moving things around to make things look good. Now, the other thing we got to do right now up here is get some power up to this system, so before it's going to work. We also need to connect our, let's see, I'm going to put a piece of smart cable to start with, but then I'm going to run just the standard heavy cable. Now we're going to have to remove this light in order to run this over this direction, because we're going to use this cable to just run along through there. Now at this point I can switch over to just using the standard cable here, and that'll connect that up. The other thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to be able to get power up here. Now I should have some power running, yeah, right there. Right there's some power cable. Let's see if we got enough basic universal cable to go ahead and run up through. Now I could easily go like right here. I could go, ooh, no, I can't do that. That's outside. Okay. Interesting. And we can just run a power cable up through right here. Oops. For temporary. Now, some of the stuff is going to get changed around, but we just want to like basically get everything up here, and then we can slowly move things around and make it look good. And you know, cover things up. You know, build some more walls in. Like these passageways don't need to be this wide. We can actually narrow these down a little bit, put some you know, areas behind walls and in, you know, access in maintenance areas or whatever. So we're gonna need to head back down to the surface real quick and grab, because there's something that I want to do. Now we could run the power cable directly into one of these ME controllers. That would work, but it's a little bit more efficient because that's going to take up a bunch of channels. Like whatever side you run the power in, that's 32 channels that you can't access anymore because the power is running into there. But if we head back down to the surface, oh, it's already in my inventory. There we go. This thing right here, charge porter down to the surface real quick. Go ahead and make ourselves a power acceptor. Power distributor. Is it power acceptor or is it maybe energy acceptor? Oops. This thing right here. That's what we want. Oh, of course we don't have any quartz glass. Fortunately, most of the stuff is already set up as craftable things in our crafting situation up here. And we can, oh, energy. And this right here. There we go. Now we got an energy acceptor. Head back up this way to the station. Okay. Looking good. Oh yeah, of course. Call an elevator down to us. And of course, now that I've actually finished this, I can close those blocks in. I don't have any more factory blocks in my inventory. So go back up to the upper torus where we're working. Why are these? Oh, that one's open because the platform is on this level right now. Now we can come over here. We can throw our energy acceptor right there and then just run some basic cable over to it. There we go. Now we should be getting power into our Applied Logistics system, and you can see that it's all lit up. Of course, we don't have anything in there right now because we don't have our drives up here. But now that we have the most basic system going, we got some drive. We can bring up all of our drives that currently have all our stuff in them from the surface up to here. So let's head back down. And I think what I'd like to do is we have been making. So for one, we're going to have additional drive right there. You can see that I've got some 64K ME storage cells. And I've been meaning to talk about this over here. So let's actually say I've set this up to be able to craft storage cells, 64K ME storage cells. Those are probably going to be sufficient. Now if we go ahead and tell this thing to make, let's say, make 4 of these. Oop, we don't have enough silicon for 4 of them. That's one of the things I haven't set up to autocraft yet, is the silicon. So unfortunately I don't currently have the dialect silicon or dictionary or anything like that. So the way to do that is we actually get to get some sand, pull some sand out of here. We have to just run it through real quick through this crusher over here, which will quickly make us another stack of silicon. Hopefully that's going to be enough. I don't remember how many it said that we needed in addition. Alright, let's see how much it actually needed to do the whole 4 that we want to craft right now. Storage, if we say 4 again. Okay, we are missing 61. It says we're only missing 61. That's not bad. So that's a full stack of 64 there. That should be everything we need, right? I believe so. So we'll get this started. And we're gonna say we want 4 more of these for the time being. 4 more, go. Start it up. So what happens is I've got this ME interface over here set up to basically say this is the one for crafting energetic processors. Oops, disabled my. Forgot about that. Got to make sure that my ender whatever thing, basically my ender convergence device, I gotta make sure that's disabled whenever I'm near this thing down here. Otherwise it will pull out all these crystals that it's crafting right over here. So let's just talk about this for a few minutes. Basically what happens is this is set up to push things into this dropper. The dropper is just an inventory for, you know, temporary storage of items. Those items are then pulled out by this logistical sorter. You can see that certain items are assigned to specific colors. A bunch of these are set to red, a bunch of them are set to other colors. If we look through the logistic pipes, you can see that each connection to these different inscribers has a different color. So aqua, green, purple or indigo or blue. There is dark red and regular red. So everything that's like regular red goes into this dropper. So if we look back in the logistical storage, maybe it'll make a little more sense. So all of the gold that comes in here, all the diamonds goes to the green, all of the pure certus goes to the dark aqua color, which is right up here, the dark aqua. So it knows that this needs to come to here, it gets printed. And then on the other side, we have these ultimate logistical sorters, all part of the same logistics system, but these are colored another color that is not, that is corresponding to this output right here that goes into this subscriber. And this subscriber, the bottom one that finalizes the processors, gets pulled out and put right back into the ME interface. Now these have to go back into this well, it doesn't have to go back into the same ME interface, but the processors do have to go back into an ME interface for them to be recognized by the crafting system as being completed. So if you have like a drawer system, and you know you have an interface that says, you know, when you craft an item, you know, send it to this machine. If that machine then takes it and puts it back directly into your drawer system, your ME system won't necessarily know that the task was complete. You know, it doesn't count that unless it comes back into the system via an interface. Whew. Okay, but that's generally how this works. So we're going to end up taking this and moving it up to the space station, and it's going to get rearranged a little bit. It might even get spread out a little bit more so that it's easier to detect or easier to understand. Now, the other important thing to note about these logistical transporter pipes is you have to have non-colored pipes connecting everything. Otherwise, it wouldn't transfer through. So it has to have, so like when the things come out of the this color up here, out of the sides here, they have to have a bit of non-colored pipe to be able to get through over to the other colored output, if that makes any sense. Hopefully I'm making sense here. Okay, that covers the logistics bit of this. Now, all of the stuff that, like if we look in here, it's set up to make pure fluix, pure certus, and it can also make fluix crystals. Now, all the ingredients that make that stuff, whether it be the seeds or the redstone, charged certus and nether quartz, those all end up going to this iron dropper. The iron dropper is set up to continuously eject items, and they just drop straight down into that bit of water right there. Now if you look down in the bottom of the water, there's an entity detector with an item filter. This item filter looks for seeds. It looks for the certus quartz or the fluix quartz seeds, and then when it detects that there is those items nearby, it sends a redstone signal through that bit of redstone right there and turns on this universal cable. So basically you can see that the growth crystals are not currently active. So it saves a lot of power by detecting whenever there is something to grow. It will go ahead and turn on the growth accelerators. When there's nothing in the water, it turns off. So if we go fluix, if we say go ahead and make us 10 more fluix, oops, missing fluix dust. Okay. If we say go ahead and make 10 more of this fluix, you can hear that it's popping off back there. I'm going to pull this 10 out. And you see it goes. And this stuff is all picked up by this advanced item collector and put directly back into the ME interface, which is what makes sure that the applied energistics system actually detects it. Anyway, that also has an item filter which is set to recognize flukes, crystals, or full-grown pure fluix and pure certus. So let's go ahead and crush these fluix, get us some more dust. Because the item detector won't detect fluix crystals, it just detects the seeds. Let's go ahead and put them in there, and we say, make us 10 pure fluix. Start. It'll first craft them into seeds, craft the dust into the seeds there, and then it'll send them over here and drop them. Now that they're in there, you can see that the crystal growth accelerator is online. If we look down under here again, we can see that the redstone signal is off, which allows that universal cable to go ahead and connect. So that is how that works. And we'll look in here again. This is inverted output. That's important. It doesn't matter whether you have it on weak redstone signal or whatever, because I'm actually pulling it off via regular redstone and then sending it into a block, which is then transmitting that redstone signal to the cable that powers this stuff. Goodness, I think that describes this system. I hope. If I haven't made it clear, please leave a message. Please leave a please leave a comment and tell me I didn't make something clear, and I will try to clear it up in the next video. But anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap up at this point. That should give us some storage. If we look in here, yes, we now have. Apparently, I made 5. I thought I only made 4, but it made 5. Or I have 5 now. So we can go ahead and put those in there. In fact, I only need 1 more to fill that drive up. I wonder why. Hello? Interesting. Suddenly it doesn't want to show that crafting thing. That's weird. It just disappeared. Now it should be over here. Okay, that's that. Yeah, it's right there. There it goes. I don't know, it had a little glitch there. Again, we're gonna have to make some more silicon though. And I will eventually get this all set up to be 100% automated. Just because I love to be able to go up to my applied energistics system and say, make all this stuff. In fact, one of the things, you may have noticed that one of the things I did automate was the ability to craft turrets, gun turrets, and gun turret bases. Where's that one at? That's over here. So yeah, all the ability to make the tier 2 gun turret bases and the guns to go on them. That way, if I want to set up a whole bunch of base defense someplace, I can do that. In fact, I've used that to enhance the security on the outside of the base, because we're getting more people on, and it's some people that like to do PvP, and I got no problem with that. So what I've done is these now target players, I believe. I currently have them turned off, but I'll turn them back on. These now currently target players. Those two, and there's a couple more over here just to make sure that this area over here is also defended. So let's turn these back on. Target players, and they're all set to be hidden and stuff like that. So I like that you can't see them until you're right up on them and they're shooting at you. Now, also in this update, those are now destructible by any player, so you can't have base defenses that are entirely immune to attack. And this, of course, is set to. This one should also be set to attack players. There we go. Turn the base defenses back on. I actually had those off the other day because I was showing somebody the base that's in game. So, but now they're back on. So, glad I thought about shown that to you guys, because I would have totally forgot about it until it was too late. So anyway, I've set this up to craft more of these turrets, so if I want to, I can set those turrets up. And again, I've got the ammo being supplied via the XNet using this crafter, so they shouldn't run out of ammo either. They can really blast people. And this is currently still trying to make 3 of these. Cancel that. Why is that trying to make 3 of those? Clearly we had something go funny in there in the whole process there. So let's pull our silicon out. Not sure what went wrong with all that, but we ended up with 5 drives. And we only really want 1 this time, so now it's saying we're missing some sand. Oop. Sand's also easy to get by just doing some gravel. Oops. That was weird. I don't know what that was that came up there, but oh goodness. Running out of materials here, for sure. Like I said, I need to set these materials to be, I need to set these up as auto, usable via the auto crafting system. And then I need to set up another set of them for doing the ore processing. So let's try this one more time. Storage drive, go. And that should be everything for the final storage drive that's going to go in this drive. And then the other thing, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn this here into an import device, which is going to import everything that we currently have in the drawer system. We're going to port that into drives, and then that way we can take everything that we have in this drawer system up to the space station, and we'll sort it out from there. But I think, in fact, let's just do that real quick. Import. So we want to make a ME import bus, which is going to require a annihilation plane. And I. I really. There we go. Goodness. Craft one of these, please. There we go. Go. Now we should be able to do an import. Maybe. Import. Nope, still didn't get it crafted yet. Let's see if we can do it by ourselves. No, we need something else. What's the hold up over here? I think it's the crystals. I think it's the pure Certus. And I currently have it set up to only use pure Certus in recipes because I want to get the most out of my Certus quartz. Now, because I did a big run of space mining, I have a pretty good excess amount right now, so I should be good for a while. But now that that's actually starting to finish its growth cycle, we should get our annihilation plane here soon. Okay. One of these days I'll learn to spell. It won't be today though. Definitely will not be today. And that's a formation core. Oh, it's a core. That would be the easier way to search for it. Core. Okay, finally crafted it. Annihilation core. There we go. Import bus. All that for just that little import bus. Now, I need to get my nether quartz wrench out here because that's a better way to do this. We're going to pull that off of there. And then we're going to put our import bus right there, which is going to start importing items. Probably like crazy. I'm a little concerned that the little light looked like it turned off like right away. So I don't think that's about, I'm not sure what that issue is about. But you can see that that immediately we no longer have access to a lot of that stuff. That was all any of that stuff that was in the up in the thing. But yeah, there we go. It's starting to actually import items. But we're gonna need some speed, so let's go ahead and make some cards or some. Oop. You gotta be careful about where your mouse is at whenever you're using this interface, and typing, because reasons. If you happen to hit the R or the U or a couple of the other keys while you're trying to do this, it will, of course, yeah, we don't have the diamonds or the redstone or any of that other stuff there. So let's diamonds, redstone, and iron. And let's see if we can't make those cards now. Yeah, the JEI will capture some key presses sometimes when you're trying to do that stuff. And then, of course, what was we need calculation processors. Calculation processors. Hopefully the stuff is in there to do these. Let's see if we can do 10 of those. No, it's missing some sand. Of course it is. So we grab a stack of, we're going to need cobble. Now hopefully that cobble's not going to like overload, because we got a lot of cobble in there now. I probably could. And again, some of this stuff is going to need to be in a drawer system up there as well. Eventually, but I'm hoping the fact that I'm using the 64K drives will allow for this space to do everything we need to do. So, was it calculation processors, I think it was? Which of course is going to make crystals. So we're going to have to wait for that. But it should have got at least one or two there. Yep, one calculation processor. That's going to give us 2 of those. And then fluix. We have some pure fluix, that's good. So we can do 2 of these speed things. And just the 2 should drastically increase the rate at which this is going to bring items in. So now if we look in here, yeah, now we're really cooking. It's really bringing that in fast. And I think at that point I can just let this run and like import all the items. They should fill up these drives. Hopefully they won't overfill the drives. And then there's our final storage drive that we told it to craft a while back. So there we go. There's our 10 drives in that. Once those are full of items, I'm going to go ahead and take them up to the space station. And at that point, we will have everything we need up there to continue crafting and processing stuff. We can go ahead and put all of this stuff away now and prepare to move it up to the station. Cool. I think we're good, guys. So anyway, I will be back next episode to give you another tour of the station. Hopefully we'll be much further along and have it considerably more decorated. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't get too rambly with some of this ME stuff and bore you to death. But if you had any questions, do be sure to leave a comment down below and hit that like button if you really enjoyed the video. But until next time, I will catch you later.